This is the FM Gold channel of All India Radio. In the program News Analysis, now we bring you a discussion on government efforts to combat terrorism. The participants are K. Srinivasan, former Inspector General Border Security Force, and Ajay Banerjee, journalist.
Mr. Srinivasan has served for long periods in Kashmir. Sir, terrorism is a wide subject. For 1 minute, we are just focusing on Jammu and Kashmir. There has been a lot of successes along the line of control where the BSF is guarding and also along the areas where the army is guarding. We also had larger number of success in what we call the CICT grid, the counterinsurgency, counter-terrorism grid. What is your assessment? 130 terrorists killed this year. What is your assessment of the situation? Are we improving? Where do we stand?
As far as the terrorism is concerned, it is nothing new to Indian scenario. You start from Punjab militancy, we had a Northeast militancy, then we had J&K insurgency also, and then latest we have LW also, left-wing extremism. So in all sectors we are facing terrorism. But as far as J&K is concerned, well, that was the hallmark year was somewhere about 2003 to 5, where we really brought down all the leadership of all the outfits. But after that, again the ISI started becoming more active, and today we have seen them again taking more and more actions. But government has took a lot of measures to contain it, and as a result we have been seeing that elimination or neutralization of a lot of militants is really praiseworthy. Though militants actually have drawn attention of the media earlier also, but nevertheless the way the government is going and very cautiously and with the most professional manner, I think it is going to pay good dividends.
Sir, there was a major success for the security forces recently. A joint operation was conducted by the security forces in Kashmir, where a known militant called Abu Dujana, who had escaped the dragnet a few times, was killed in an operation in South Kashmir recently. After his killing, there has been a lull. There was some attempt by stone pelters to pelt stones, which was again curbed by the security forces. There has been lull after the killing of Abu Dujana. You think Abu Dujana's killing was a turning point in the immediate term?
It is not the lone turning point. We have so many tasks also because there are different outfits also. Like we have JS, LET, HM and everything. We have to go one after another and we have to go all the Tanzim leaders. So this is one of actually, this is not the end itself. This is only beginning of this operation. Well, tackling this type of terrorism is not a joke because we need to take a lot of measures. We have to take the human right values. We have to take the local perception. We have to see that collateral damage is not done. So we have to do a balance of all our work. So that in consideration, yes, this is the beginning of the new chapter.
Srinivasan sir, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has spoken about killing terrorism or finishing terrorism as one of the goals we should have as a country, to end terrorism and its scourge of terrorism which is faced by us in Kashmir and several other areas in India. Pakistan continues to abet the infiltration of trained armed terrorists into Jammu and Kashmir, and also recently last year in northern parts of Punjab, Gurdaspur and Pathankot. Suddenly new areas have been found to be vulnerable. Pakistan's efforts, are they going to be curbed further? What is the success rate? How will work against curbing Pakistan-based infiltration?
The J&K militancy is concerned, it should be a twofold action. One is the stopping the infiltration through the borders, maybe LOC or maybe AGPL or maybe IV. And the second is taking the hinterland militants. These actions should go by side, and that has been being done. Now what is needed is a big coordination. Coordination in terms of inter-sharing, coordination in terms of ops planning. So both now they are taking on the right direction, and more importantly, today the government has taken a good action against the financial network of all these militants. That is going to pay big dividends because we have not addressed this issue earlier. Present government move, this is actually going to give a very good boost to the anti-militancy operations.
Sir, are you referring to the action taken by the National Investigation Agency against the Hurriyat leaders in Kashmir?
Exactly. This should have been taken long back. Now that the government has taken very good move and it is going to give a good result.
So these people who have been arrested by the NIA for having channelized various funds into stone pelting or terrorism into Kashmir Valley, they are now facing some kind of a case registered by the NIA. These people have been the forefront of what is seen as the face of separatists in the valley. Now, with these people facing a case, do you think or presume a new kind of separatist leadership will emerge which can be curbed immediately now?
These separatists face two problems. One, due to demonetization, number one. Number two, again, all tracking their assets and everything. These two actually are going to cut the oxygen for the militants. Now, a new breed of militants, I don't think without the finance they cannot survive. And this is the right time for us to eliminate whatever the remaining elements of the militancy. Once the finance is controlled, I think militancy will die its natural death.
So the UN and the US have been very harsh on, or rather very good for us. They have been harsh on people like Hafiz Saeed, people like Dawood Ibrahim, who have aided and abetted militancy in the past. China continues to back a ban on certain militants of Pakistan. How does China gain from it? What should be our focus in telling China again and again that these people have to be banned?
So as far as I am concerned, whether China is very keen to ban them or not, we need not really bother about that. We need to flush our own area and make it clean. So let us focus on the borders with Pakistan and borders with Bangladesh, borders with all other countries where we are having problem, and contain the hinterland. We do not really matter whether they reply or not, because we have that much capability to tackle this militancy in one way or other.
Sir, the militancy which we talk about Jammu Kashmir, Prime Minister Modi does not specify any region. He just talks about militancy. Jammu Kashmir is a benchmark we often see, but in the past we have seen terrorist attack, a seaborne terrorist attack at Mumbai, and we have also seen several terrorist attacks in 2008 and 9, Ahmedabad, Bangalore, Jaipur, bomb blasts basically. There were also terrorist attacks. Recently the Amarnath Yatra was attacked in Jammu and Kashmir. Do you think this kind of terrorism or Pakistan-based terrorism can spread away from Jammu Kashmir and other states of the country?
The Kashmir militancy is only a gateway for the militant actions all over the India. It is a pan-Indian movement basically. You would have seen there was a blast even in Coimbatore, Hyderabad, Ajmer, Calcutta, like this. So that way, we should see that not an isolated form of only J&K. We should see them as the pan-India movement. So our anti-terrorist approach and the policy should be a pan-India, all-India based, not only the J&K based.
Do you think they can join hands with the left-wing extremists or Naxals as we know them?
Now, as far as my information goes, when I was in intelligence also, we did not have any foolproof evidence to say an operational symbiotic relationship. But it is only what you call a moral support. Basically, because the statements gave by LWE, the Naxals also to the J&K militants, they gave only the words only for supporting their stand. But never they came out of that ring. They never supplied weapons and everything. We did not have any much. And it may not happen also, because J&K militancy is more of religion-based and Pakistan-supported, whereas LWE is a total different issue.
There are also people talk about lifting the AFSPA or the Armed Forces Special Powers Act, which enable the security forces, give them certain powers to function in such areas. What is your take on it? Should it continue?
It should continue. See, militancy is that in our body something is gone and septic and it is going to damage entire body. You may need to cut it out. And for the surgery is required. And this also is basically a surgery. If without that power, the doctor has no powers to cut, then there's no question of any what I call healing. So for the healing purposes, you need to have this. Okay, till that time we achieve the aim.
Sir, security forces often speak to us off the record. They speak that how a young man who is coming in from Pakistan carries out a Fidayeen attack in the first few weeks of coming in. If he has not carried out an attack in the first couple of weeks, then he does not carry out a Fidayeen attack. Because the impression given to him in Pakistan is that India is a very oppressive state. He comes here and sees the doctrination was false and he does not carry out the attack. But then he lingers on for 6 to 8 months as an armed terrorist. It takes longer for him to be killed. But in the process, he stays there in Kashmir. This is what the impression the security forces now have. That is why we have killed 130 terrorists this year. Do you think it is a reality that a person who comes in does a Fidayeen attack in 2 weeks, after that he probably lingers on?
In fact, to the other side is, he cannot do any Fidayeen attack immediately because he is a newcomer to that area. He doesn't have a good linkage and he get finally exposed also in a short time. In my experience, in fact, they have really taken a longer time to understand and to have networking with the locals, then only they did Fidayeen attack. We apprehended earlier some of the people who are really designated for Fidayeen attack, but when during interrogation we came to know that they came in much earlier, they were really trying to find out opportunity. So coming immediately and doing that one, if that is the idea of ISA, I think their planning is something wrong.
So the boy's profile is getting younger and younger. The terrorists which are coming in 17 years, 18 years of age. What does it indicate?
No, actually, that means they are unable to indoctrinate the people with what you call proper sensibility. Now the young people they give because what I understand is they get a monetary benefit back home, and these people are generally coming from the poor families, and they actually a lot of financial constraints are there. So anybody going for the jihad, what they call for jihad, he gets a good backup support, financial and other support in home in Pakistan or POK. So that actually makes them to come here. And secondly, some of them may not do any action at all. They may come here while away the time and merge with the population over a period of time also. So that way, it is basically the limited motivation given by the ISI for them to come for this type of operations.
Srinivasan sir, you have seen actual operations in Jammu and Kashmir. At the moment, the operations are two-pronged. One at the LAC and the IB sector, where it is virtually you see somebody crossing and shoot to kill. And the second part is within the valley, which we call the CICT grid, where the operations are carried out. These two parts are separate in their operations, their formulas, and their tackling of militants. Which is the more tough part of the two? The LAC part or the valley part?
See, the LC part, you have to be more vigilant, and you have to be vigilant on 24/7. Of course, the plus point is that you have always the freedom to fire the moment enemy crosses, you will fire because he is bound to be a Pakistani or he should be an outsider. But coming to the hinterland, it's very, very trivial job because you are fighting an unknown enemy. The enemy is moving near you, but you really do not know. And when he will act also, you do not know. And when you do some action, there are bound to be a collateral damage, and that will boomerang entire the image. So that way you have to be very cautious. Difficulty is there at different level, but for CI operation, the difficulty level is more.
As you talk about collateral damage, the valley has seen sometimes protests by young boys, young girls against the forces whenever a militant is surrounded, or is when the gherao is there around a house to nab a militant. Is this a new phenomenon of protest by young people?
It was there in the 90s also. In the beginning of the militancy also such trend was there, but afterwards it actually got curtailed. Now again it started. Not that they are really interested, it is actually at the instigation of the separatists due to coercion. Otherwise nobody is ready to do. They have actually many people who interrogated, they do not know who is the militant is, but still they were actually shouting for him. Only it is because of the backhand boys, like the Hurriyat people, the separatist people, they are talking to them, and these people will get infatuated.
Do you think that in the mainland India, which we talk of the larger part of India, away from Jammu Kashmir, do you think that some kind of terrorist sleeper cells exist there, and what is the action against them?
Existence of terrorist sleepers was age old, not today. I have seen in 2003 also, I have seen in 1990 also I have seen. And LET is really well known for that they are making sleeper cells. We have instances where they had sleeper cells right up to Bangalore. I am telling about 2003 to 2010. So that way they had a very good sleeper cell base. And that is one of their part of the strategy that we had to take care.
How are we tackling them now, sir?
No, it is purely intelligence. Now all these are all purely technical intelligence and human intelligence. That we are working now in the right direction.
I will not classify them as terrorists, but there was sense of insurgents in the northeast also. Some of them arrived at a kind of agreement with the government of India, like the Nagas and the Mizos. They were at agreements with the government of India. Some factions like the NDFB still remain, probably sometimes in Myanmar, sometimes hidden parts of Bhutan. How are we tackling those people?
See, as far as northeast is concerned, it was insurgency. Then basically the insurgents started moving towards more criminalization. They become more of the extortionists. At least I have seen that most of them were really in need of money. They resorted to extortion.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has spoken about hitting at terrorism at one of the targets. The UN is with us, and we are facing extremism from Pakistan-based terrorists. Thank you.
You are listening to a discussion on government efforts to combat terrorism. The participants were K. Srinivasan, former Inspector General, Border Security Force, and Ajay Banerjee, journalist. This program was produced and presented by the News Services Division of All India Radio. This program is also available on our website newsonair.nic.in. You may email your opinion about this program at airnsdtalks@gmail.com.